There are some times when there is a difference of opinion in between a husband and wife relationship. So same is the case which happened here. This is a live example. This case actually happened in my own office, and a client came in, and husband and wife, and they have a difference of opinion. The difference of opinion was husband was inclined towards LMIA and wife was inclined toward caregiver. Two different opinions. Now let us see what further details are. Hello friends, this is Satvinder Bhatia from Sukhmani Immigration Services, Brampton, Canada. I'm a regulated and licensed Canadian immigration consultant. Today's video is very special because this is the original kind of thing which happened in my office itself. So I am sharing to you the first-hand experience. So I will share all the details with you, but before that, very small request. If you have not subscribed to the channel so far, please consider subscribing. We talk a lot about Canadian immigration news, update, tips and tricks on this channel. If you like the video, share it with your family and friends, and please don't forget to press the bell icon, because that way this video comes to you immediately when we upload. So let's get started without further delay on this very important video. This video is about LMIA versus caregiver. Well, on internet you will not find any such video available. You may find a lot of video available on LMIA or caregiver, but a comparison is nowhere available, and nobody wants to do the comparison because they don't want to tell you the honest things. So here I am sharing to you first of its kind a LMIA versus caregiver comparison. First of all, let's quickly see the detail of the case which came to me. So this husband and wife who came to me, let's look at the details of the case. So the husband was 42-year-old and wife was 38 years old with two kids aged 14 and 12. And husband was he did graduation, and after that he did MBA, and he was a marketing manager working in a multinational company, getting a good salary for last 10 years. Wife, she is a graduate and she was working in the daycare. So both husband and wife working, and entire family has a visitor visa to Canada. Now how they got the visitor visa? Because wife's younger sister lives here in Brampton, Canada, and she lives with her husband and two kids, 7 and 9 years old. Her husband and she both are Canadian citizens, and they are working professionals. They have good jobs here. So lastly, the younger sister, and this is very important point, very important point. The younger sister who lives here in Brampton, she is willing to support and capable of supporting both things. So what happens, sometimes we have relatives in Canada, either they are not willing to support you or they are not capable of supporting you. Here the younger sister is willing to support as well as capable of support. So please note this important point. So this is the case detail. Now let's quickly look at the programs. Although I have given complete details in my video about caregiver program, but here I'm just touching quickly about the program so you can make a decision. So caregiver program basically is a pilot program, and caregiver is divided into two categories. In simple words, one for the young children and one for the elderly people. So home child care provider and home support worker. So many people call caregiver program nanny program also. This is a pilot program and only accepts 5,500 primary applicant applications. So each program accepts 2,750 applications, primary applicants. So along with that, entire family, they can come also. So that's the number. And when this program opens January 1st each year and closes as soon as this number gets filled. Usually home child care gets filled in just a matter of 10 days. That's all, as from my previous experience. So this is about the caregiver program. The requirements for caregiver program are pretty much straightforward. You need to have ECA. ECA means Education Credential Assessment. You need to have grade 12 and 1 year post-secondary ECA. Then you need to have IELTS. Your IELTS should be band 5. And also you need a job offer. If you have these 3 things, you are good to put an application. So these are the 3 things required. Now we have looked on the caregiver program. Let's have a quick look at LMIA. So LMIA is called Labor Market Impact Assessment. It's an acronym. So LMIA, Canadian employer, he can apply. He goes to ESDC, which is Employment and Social Development Canada. This is a government agency. He goes to them, applies for LMIA. After getting a positive LMIA, only then it can be used. So positive LMIA, once you get a positive LMIA, employer gives this to the worker along with the job offer, who can apply work permit, and thus he can come over here in Canada. So job and LMIA, this is a very important point. Job and LMIA needs to match with the education and experience of the person. So if the LMIA is for plumber and you are accountant, it's not going to work. So it needs to be, you need to be in the same education and work experience as the LMIA is. So this is about LMIA. Now let's look at the similarities between LMIA and caregiver. So first of all, both programs help you to come to Canada. Both programs provides you with job offer. Both programs provide you with work permit. Both programs help you to get to Canadian PR. Both cases, relatives who are here in Canada can help. So suppose if your relative has a business, if your friend or a relative has a business, he can take out LMIA from his business and can give it to you. Similarly, in the caregiver, if the person, if your friend or relative have kids or elderly person, if they have, they can provide you the job offer. So both cases, relatives and friends can help. And both cases, age is not a scoring point. So age is not a scoring point because see, in express entry and many programs, if you are above certain age, you don't get points. Whereas in LMIA or caregiver case, this is not the case. So these are the similarities. Now, we have seen the similarities. Let's look at the differences, because differences is what make the things change. So let's look at the differences. So differences, the first difference, LMIA gives you closed work permit. You cannot change the employer. You have to stick with that employer. Closed work permit. Whereas caregiver gives you open work permit, but it is occupation restricted. You have to stay in the same occupation, but you can change the employer. So that's first difference. Second, very important difference, and nobody wants to talk about this. LMIA is only a work permit program, whereas caregiver is a PR program. When you are submitting an application for a caregiver, you are paying the PR fee also at that time. So that is one of the very important differences. LMIA, you do not need IELTS or VAS. So VAS is actually, we should say ECA, but VAS is agency, which has become, that's why it becomes so popular that it become kind of synonym. But for doing, basically for LMIA, you do not need language testing, you do not need any kind of educational credential assessment. Whereas for caregiver, you need IELTS and VAS. To fill the application, you need both of them. Very, very important point. Basically, if you are selecting LMIA, you have to re-qualify, and nobody is telling you this. You have to re-qualify later, maybe after 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, you have to re-qualify under some PR program, whether it could be a Canadian Experience class or a PNP program, but you need to re-qualify. Only then you can get a PR. Whereas under caregiver category, you do not need to re-qualify. You have already qualified. That's all. So another difference, convincing government to create a LMIA, it's not easy. For an employer also, it is not easy. On the caregiver side, the window to apply, there is a very, very small time, maybe 10 days, maybe 12 days, but as soon as that application gets filled, the window closes. So the window to apply for caregiver is very small. So let's see, there are more differences, and differences are going to make the decision. So visitor visa, and I have a complete video on this. So visitor visa can be converted to work permit in LMIA, but under caregiver there is no such thing. You cannot convert a visitor visa to a caregiver because it's a PR program. Location, under LMIA, location is usually remote, which is not the case with caregiver. Jobs which you get via LMIA, if the job is O, A and B, then it is okay. If it is knock C job, knock D job, then you cannot call your family. Whereas this is not the case with caregiver. With LMIA, you can start immediately. But caregiver, after applying, application takes minimum 1 year. When you apply to the time you get your work permit and everything, it takes at least a year. So lastly, there is no quota on LMIA, right? Quota in the term that, of course, from an employer side, yes, there is, but there are so many employers available. Anytime, the date, there is no window as such, right? Whereas on the caregiver side, there is quota. The quota is 2,750. When this quota gets exhausted, done. So these are the differences. Now, what is candidates who are suitable for LMIA? So LMIA candidates who do not want to do IELTS, they do not want to do IELTS. They say, no, we want to stay in Canada, we will stay in Canada for a year or so, so we have better command over English, and then we will go for the English test. So they don't want to do that immediately. And they also do not have EC available. They have visitor visa and they just quickly want to get it converted. And they are ready to go to any location. They don't care, whatever location, that's okay. We have to get the PR, let's go to any location. And they are ready to work with that one employer for at least a period of 2 years. So this is a type of candidate which is suitable for LMIA. Candidate who is suitable for caregiver. A caregiver candidate is one which already has IELTS and ECA done. He is ready. IELTS and ECA done. Family and friends are there to support, and they are capable and willing to support. They have small kids or elderly parents, and the person is willing to wait in the home country They say, okay, that's fine. We apply and we wait in the home country. When my turn will come, I will come to Canada. They are doing a stable job in the home country. And these are the type of candidates who are suitable for caregiver. So now, based on all this information, the suggestion which I did in this case was that since wife's real younger sister is ready to support her, she can provide the job offer. Her kids are small, 7 and 9 years. She is a working woman. So that way, this will be a lot of saving of money and time, because they do not need to search externally for a job offer. They have in-house job offer, and that makes a lot of difference. Entire family can come together, and they don't need to move to any remote location. They can stay in Brampton only, and close to their sister. So that is the reason. And most important thing, the family do not need to re-qualify for PR. They are already into the PR program. So this is the suggestion which I did, and the family was happy. They proceeded with it. So if you want to discuss your own case, your own profile, you can reach out to our office. There is nothing like one size which fits all. Your situation may be different. Your case could be different, right? It depends upon your situation, your requirements. So to discuss your case, to discuss your profile, you can reach out to our office. Our email address, phone number, and details are shared here with you. Once again, very important thing, if you have not subscribed to the channel so far, please consider subscribing, and thank you very much for watching the video. Thanks.